So the idea, so we talked about classification. So now I'm going to talk to you guys about regression a little bit. So we'll talk about this more again tomorrow as well. So how do these things work, right? So how do machines adjust their inner workings during training? Is it some magic? So it's all math and programming. So anytime they make mistakes, they update. So these machine learning models do curve fitting. So if this is a set of data points here, they try to find the line that best predicts the relationship between some X variable that's here. This is our X, and this is our Y over here. So we try to learn a relationship between our X. This is also the f of X. The f of X is also known as our Y. Do you guys know what this equation is? Of this line? Like, what is this called? Does anybody learn what this is?
Parabola.
Yeah, and here they just, thank you. And here they just showed only part of it. So it's like really like continuing on like this, it's like a parabola, but they just showed a part of it. So imagine, thank you, that these red points are what the data is. So imagine that this example is student participation, and this line here is on the top is understanding. So imagine that this part here is AI understanding, and this is student participation. But if you guys are at 0, you guys aren't doing anything. If you guys are negative, this could mean that you guys are like disruptive, or instead of participating, you're like sleeping somewhere, or you're like playing video games, or you've like completely just disappeared from here. And you probably don't even know that I'm giving this example. So if you're not participating, or maybe you're, being disruptive or whatever, this is negative participation. 0 is like you're just not doing anything. You're just sitting there, just listening, not doing anything. And 1 could be maybe you're asking a few questions, or you're having a few comments. And 2 is like you're unmuting, you're asking questions, or you're posting a lot in the chat and contributing. So this is student participation on a negative to positive scale. And if I had to measure the understanding, maybe negative could mean that you walked out of here learning the wrong concept. Maybe you've walked out thinking there are 10 different types of machine learning, or you've walked away with the wrong understanding, and that's negative, that this hurt you because you learned the wrong things. 0 is that you just did not remember anything. It just like you're completely zoned out. 1 is you've learned a little bit, you learned a little bit more, you've got a lot of the class. So imagine if I take this idea and I got this idea on how much you participated, I collect this information here, and then I get information on how much you understood. And you guys are this red dot over here. I can try to understand the general relationship, right? What do you guys think? What if I did something like this? What if I built a model that looks something like this? You guys are all the red data points. What if I told you this is my predictive model? So, and I continue connecting the dots. So for a given level of participation, I can try to predict your AI understanding. So I can be like, guys, if you participate this amount, you might just learn a little bit. If you participate more, you'll learn way more. If you participate at level 2, you're going to learn at 3, right? This is the level of understanding you get. Then that's exciting for you guys, right? I'm like, guys, I looked at people who participated, and based on that data, I learned that the more students participate, the more they understand. Oh, okay, if you guys have to go, just, thanks for letting me know. But what would you say if I tried to fit a model that connected every pair of dots? What would you guys think? Is that a good model or not?
Not a good model.
Okay, and why not? Thank you, Brianna and Sarah. I saw you shaking your head. And yeah, why not, guys?
Usually when making a model, you have to kind of average it out so that it's like much clearer than like just putting in like a bunch of squiggly lines. That's what I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you, guys. I have to predict for the future, and David, no, average is better, more simple to understand. Yeah, so it's like you need to, so the idea can be that you guys are a set of students. Maybe this might, we have a little bit more to cover, but if, so if so I said the class will go a little bit over, but so guys, just bear with me. So the idea is that If a curve is too specific like this, it's just not going to work out, because it's like like you guys are just a set of students. Sorry to put, I didn't mean to put it that way, but like you guys are just one sample. Imagine in the future I have a different set of points. I can't make it so specific, because I could get a different set of like these brownish points. I can get a different set of points out there. So I should not make it so specific. The idea I think of is called being overfit. We want to learn the general idea without being something that's called overfit. So I'll place it in the chat. The term is overfit. We want to avoid it. It's like your teacher telling you that, hey, take this practice test, and if based on the practice test, you'll see how much you need to study for the actual test. I mean, just very few times in my life has the actual practice test been the test the teacher gave. I don't know, have you ever experienced that before, where the practice test is the actual test? No, but okay, some people have nodding a little bit. It really depends. But if you actually study, that practice test, and that's the only thing you study, like let's say you just study the practice test, you get the answers, and you keep studying it again and again till you get 100% on it. And let's say you tell your folks, yeah, I think I studied for the test. I got 100% on this practice test. Do you think you guys are pretty set for the test or not? Okay, why not, guys? Why not?
Well, because sometimes your brain can just memorize the answer without really knowing how you got there. And so then, like, you could only get 100% or a good score on the test if the questions were matching.
Exactly, so well said. Sometimes it memorizes it. Like if I tell you get 100%, hopefully if I know the material, I should get 100%. But that's like the only thing, but I don't know at that point if I've actually memorized the answers or if I actually understand it. That's the risk. Like what if I actually just memorize that how you take this number, that maybe the answer to that problem happened to be this thing. Like what if I don't know how to factor two numbers and I just happen to memorize how the teacher did it? I won't know. There's a risk. So I need to understand the concepts, and I tell a teacher, hey, but in this problem, you did it this way. But why does it not work? And the teacher's like, look, Sonia, you just memorized this example. You didn't understand why I did that thing. You just memorized that I did it because of this. So that's the risk I take. If I build such a complicated model that does so well on the data, then maybe it's just memorizing it. Maybe it doesn't understand what's going on. So that's the risk. The thing, if you were to look at this, you would say that, hey, I noticed that as student participation goes up, their understanding goes up. It's not like it's going down like this. You notice a trend. I would be like studying the practice test and understanding, oh, okay, so when the teacher did this, that's why the teacher did this. Okay, so this is an example of this way of solving it. Now, and now I see the notes of the other things. So I need to learn the concepts. And then when I have this model, I can do something like in the future, all I need is just a set of X data, X, and f of X. Have you guys done this in school, where if you give a set of data, you can sort of predict based on a formula, what is the outcome? Have you guys learned in class a little bit about those formulas? That's the key idea. You want to find, then you find this blue curve, and based on that, I can tell you, okay, it looks like your participation is a 0.2. What is your understanding that I predict? I can plug it into this formula and then predict your understanding. And it will generally be okay. And this is a regression problem. A key part of this is to get a line that is as close to as many points as possible, not completely overfitting, not going through every single point, but trying to generally be as close to as many of the points as possible, yet simple to understand. Because you guys are just some of the people. You guys might not represent every single thing. Did you guys understand that? So how is curve fitting related to machine learning? So similarly, in curve fitting, we have a set of observations. We have a model to predict the future. We have our X variable to try to predict the Y. So this is like student like participation, and we're trying to predict understanding. And then in supervised machine learning, we have some features. And then we have the target. Are you wearing a mask? Are you not wearing a mask? Are you sad? Are you happy? What is your SAT score that I predict that you will have? What is your chance of getting into this college? What is your grade point average I predict? What is the price of that home? What is the amount of money if I make this movie with these actors and this? What do I predict this movie's box office will be? What do I predict? All sorts of values I can predict from this. How much money do I think I will make at my lemonade stand? Yeah. So similarly, we have some examples. So if you had to find the price of a home, what features would you think are important? Yes, if you have to go, you may leave. Yeah,
So if
sorry?
you're trying to find the price of a home,
Yeah, like what things
um,
would you look at?
I guess the square footage, the number of rooms, the number of bathrooms, um, the amount of stories. Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
that's good.
maybe where it's located, its general neighborhood, and
Yeah.
sort of where it is, kind of.
Yeah, that's really good job. Yes, exactly. The neighborhood where it's located. Exactly. Perfect. The square footage, number of rooms, zip code, where it's located, if it's 1 story, 2 stories, and how far is it from, like, is it near a tourist attraction? Is it in a city? Is it close to good school district? Does it have wood floors? Does it have carpets? When is it made? If it's made, like, if it's very, very old, is it historic? Like, is it a nice, landmark? Or is it like really new? What type, how many like bathrooms, bedrooms, all that, right? Garage, how many doors? So there's so many features. And what I would do is I would actually go and collect. How do you think I should go about doing this? I should collect data, right, on houses with with the variables that I have. So if I go to this app is all based on getting a free offer, like what is your quote? What should your home sell for? Or if I have a set of skills, how much money should I be paid? What is my net worth? Or what salary should I get given that I have XYZ as skills? Like there are all these apps out there, and what they do is different. Or if you're trying to become friends with someone, or if you're trying to meet someone online, what is the chance? What percent compatibility do you have? The higher the compatibility, the more likely you guys will be a good match for each other. And these variables that we use set apps apart from each other. So the square foot. Oh, I see, Alyssa, and that you have Princeton. I'm near Princeton, New Jersey. That's pretty cool.
No,
So
really, that's so cool.
what
I
about
love.
you?
Oh, I live in Georgia.
Oh, that's
So
cool. That's
I'm really
awesome.
far, yeah. But I went to like I traveled for lacrosse, and so one time I traveled to New Jersey, and I was like, "Oh, let me see Princeton." And so like I just love the campus and I love the school. So
Yeah, I
you
live
tour
close
like
by.
do you go on campus a lot?
No, I'm actually living in Madison, Wisconsin, but my parents live in New Jersey, so I'm just home right now visiting them for a few weeks. So yeah, but I'm from like near Princeton, New Jersey, so that's cool. I just noticed that too. That's awesome. So yeah, it's a great. So that's cool. Awesome. So the idea is that like we want to make predictions on a house price, and then what happens is that they get all the variables that they're interested in. So it's going to take you a lot of time because what you could do is you could do unsupervised. You might not even notice, and I know the actual house prices. You could just probably notice some attributes that seems like houses in this neighborhood have these many number of bathrooms and bedrooms and all that. But for supervised, you actually need to get information like how much is this house selling for? And then how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, how far, like all the features you're interested in, how many stories, when is it made, all of those things, you need to collect data on it. And you need to know the house price that it's sold for. And the year maybe it was sold, all that information. And then you have to fit a model based off of that information, but you need to know how much it's sold for. Find the model that does the best in understanding these relationships. And based on what features you want, that can set you apart from another competitive app that's also trying to predict home prices. Like these are all competitive apps, like apps that you can download or go visit, and that's what their goal. If I told you I can predict the chances you guys will get into an Ivy League school, or you'll get into this school or that college or this, right? Or if I can predict your SAT score, if I have an app that takes your GPA, it's really specific to your high school, even down to the teacher you've had or your grades in that class. You guys would be pretty interested, right? But it would take that person like so much effort to figure out like or maybe what do I predict you'll do on your SATs, or maybe I could even predict what is a good month for you to take the SATs. All these things, I need to collect so much data, and you'll be like, hey, I don't believe you. How? I'm like, no, I've actually gotten data from millions of students and I've trained this model on it. Then you guys will be like, wow, that's so cool. And I can have an app, and maybe I can charge people a couple bucks to download and use my app. And I'm an app developer and I can make money that way, right? Who knows? So these are all ideas. I'm like, even you guys may or may not even, if you won a lottery, I'm pretty sure your folks would be okay. Like, if you wanted to just hang up for the rest of your life, if you won a few $1,000,000, it's all at the end of the day, your folks just want you to be happy, have a good amount of money, be able to provide for yourself and live a good life, as a good clean citizen. So I'm trying to say that there are many ways, as my folks say, to skin a cat, right? So if you come up with a really cool idea, like Gitanjali, like that would be something that, who won the Times Kid of the Year. Similarly, another thing that YouTube does is, what do you think YouTube tries to do?
I think YouTube learns from like what kind of videos you like to watch. Like I know you have like basketball there. So I say you initially watch a whole bunch of basketball videos, so then they'll recommend basketball videos. So trying to predict like what would you want to watch next and then like recommending it to you.
Exactly. Thank you, Alyssa. And yes, so yes, they're going to see what you're watching. So what their goal is, YouTube makes money off of ads as well, unless you buy YouTube Red or other things. That anytime you watch an ad, some company has paid YouTube that, hey, because people watch your videos, and then they do targeted advertising. Like they're going to send you targeted ads as well. So companies pay YouTube so that they can reach you guys and give you ideas. Like sometimes if you see something and you're like, why haven't I heard about this before? Is it really as good as they say it is? So then you'll wonder. So you usually expect to see some ads if something is really cool out there. So similarly, YouTube makes money off of ads. Anytime you watch an ad or you click on an ad, they're making money. So their goal is for you to keep watching content so that you'll see more ads as well and you'll stay on YouTube. So they have a motive to make you want to stay on YouTube, and you actually may want to stay on YouTube as well. Like you want to be enjoying yourself. So they think, hey, yeah, it's a win-win. We don't mind, like we want to make you stay on YouTube. It's great as long as it doesn't interfere with your studies or other work, right? So that's as good as it gets, right? So they want to maximize. So if you're watching something educational, so again, guys, if you come to my channel here, if you want to subscribe, if you watch my channel, for instance, then they might recommend other things like, oh, okay, you're interested in this thing. Maybe you'd be interested in watching that. So then what their goal is to make you watch content on YouTube. So if I see Kobe Bryant incredible and impossible shots, it's going to look at like the current video, what have I watched, what am I subscribed to, like demographics as well, other data, and maybe recommend the next video for me to watch. And if it wins in terms of predicting what I'm interested in, like recommended for you, what do you think will happen if it's a good suggestion? What do you think I will do?
You'll click on it.
Yes, exactly. Yes, sorry? So somebody else was speaking. Did you also want to add? Okay, yeah. So if it's a good suggestion, I'll actually click on it. And then I'll increase it. And then it's going to say, yes, I recommend it. I mean, they can't vouch for if this is good or not. But they will, like, if I click on it, I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, I'm actually interested in Beijing 2008 Throwback Thursday. If I click on this, then they're like, yes, we predicted something Sanya would be interested in. This is like your best friend telling you or predicting what you'd be, or your parents or your friends or someone predicting what, thank you guys. So this is just like the AI is like your friend trying to predict what you're interested in. It's like recommending, it's like a friend being like, oh my gosh, I just saw this video, this movie, you have to see this movie. Or on Amazon, if you're buying something, it's like, you might also like this. What if we just went on YouTube, we just see one thing and we're done? It'll be so boring. Half the fun of YouTube is if you find an artist and a song, discovering new content. Like You know, there's a saying, if you like one Taylor Swift song, you like them all. You know, like if you find like all these songs, that's so exciting. There's nothing than the joy of finding a song you actually like. So that's their goal. Even Shazam tries to figure out like songs and find patterns and subtract noise. So that's their goal.